Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on Nobody 2. Very late to this, but as I've mentioned in some previous videos, I'm still kind of ironing out my 2025 movie ranking, and thus kind of picking off some movies I meant to see but missed for whatever excruciating reason. But I liked the first Nobody too. I really appreciated Bob Odenkirk's kind of clear dedication to doing this kind of project, and kind of the novelty of seeing a guy who is primarily known for being a lawyer in some very serious dramatic shows, like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and such. Doing something like this, there's something to that, seeing like this guy kind of transform and show what a different kind of effort he can put into something kind of like on a not like a complete 180, but just on a different spectrum. But I also wasn't necessarily someone that was blowing up about it and like a completely adored Nobody either. Although I'm sure if I watched it again, I'd probably like it a little bit more. But I was still happy to see us get a sequel. It took a bit though, didn't it? A lot of reasons for that. And then what really drew me though was the fact that Sharon Stone was going to be the main villain in this one. And Sharon Stone for me is, I think, one of the kind of all-time stars of the industry, for decades now. And so it's just good to see her kind of appear in another more kind of mainstream project, I suppose. She's not in it until like there's less than 50 minutes or so left. But she's Lindina, and she's probably one of the more memorable villains of the year for me. I am a bit biased, I will admit that, but yeah, I really enjoyed Nobody 2, actually. For me, I think it was better than the first movie. Uh, Again, I need to rewatch, and I know some people said this one got too comedic or something like that. Um, but I don't know, for me, it did all the things that the first movie did well, and then it's kind of added a bit more flair, a bit more fun factor to it, while still having kind of that grit and kind of that in it, violence that we're wanting. Um, sure, I feel like we're a bit spoiled on action these days because there's however many good movies, both main release and independent every year, that have solid choreography and fight scenes and everything. Um, but still, we should not take that for granted either. And there's a couple of really memorable bits in this. There's the frickin' duck boat fight was really stand out, and started to get me to turn my head a little bit. And then with Bob Odenkirk as Hutch taking his family to where he was taken, well, on one of the only vacations he ever had when he was being raised by Christopher Lloyd. You get a pretty interesting and totally more engaging than you'd expect set piece with the fairground and everything like that. Plummerville, and that was utilized really nicely. I mean, it feels like there's been like a trend of movies that kind of go for the easy, okay, on vacation, and then thus natural action comedy, right? Even had a movie the same year, Family Plan 2, which I really liked the first Family Plan, but Family Plan 2 fell pretty flat for me. Um, this one I think is an enjoyable version of kind of that whole, semi cliche setup, and it managed to stick out. And the fairground, with Willie's Majestic Midway or whatever it was called. Um, it was just perfectly paced, like slickly done, and they take advantage of the setting, and it doesn't just feel like it's a backdrop. It's actually utilized, which I really enjoyed. There's not like rich character development or anything, but I feel like they did a good job with Odenkirk's Hutch in this one. Him trying to fight kind of this inner kind of bloodlust in him to a point. And the dynamic with his son is while what you'd expect and not like taking over the narrative, it is kind of the through line. And I thought it was good to at least touch on that periodically in the movie. And again, Sharon Stone isn't in it until like the last like little stretch of the movie, but she still manages to make it stick. She just has a lot of fun. She completely you could say choose the scenery, hams it up, but she knows exactly what movie she is in, and she has a ball with it, and she really brings kind of a different different something to it. You also have John Ortiz in here as the local sheriff. You have Colin Hanks as the deputy that's actually connected to Sharon Stone's criminal syndicate boss, and not to mention you have even someone like Daniel Bernhardt, a veteran of the genre. I see pop up like everywhere. When I go, I still see him. And this he has a bit of a different look. He's involved in a katana fight and everything like that. So it's kind of always a good stamp. But yeah, I really enjoy Nobody too. I could see it. I'll rewatch the first, okay, but I could see it being a case of after I do rewatch both, I could probably just see myself rewatching Nobody two on its own. It was that much of a difference for me, and really, I'm not saying it's like the latest action masterpiece or something like that, but for me, Nobody two I think was one of the more kind of distinctly enjoyable action movies of 2025. I'm not sure where exactly it'll fall in my ranking. But yeah, I definitely had a better time with it than I expected. Once I submitted to Letterboxd, I could see myself swinging between like a 3.5 and a 4 out of 5, somewhere in there. But yeah, let me guys thought about this one. I know a lot of majority are just thinking it's not as good as the first, but I don't see why it isn't. And for me, it exceeded it. So yeah, let me know your thought. Follow me on TikTok, of course, Twitter, Instagram. Later.